Yo, what's up everybody? This is Ron wanting to draw, and I'm back with another video, and this will be about how I built my PC. For those of y'all that are new to the channel, my goal is to create a comic and to document the process from start to finish. So for example, in my last video, I went over materials and resources that I plan on using to create this comic. So if you haven't seen that, go and check that out. But on to the PC. One reason I needed to get one in the first place was because your boy didn't have one. I've been using my iPad for a long time without a PC. So quick story, I had a computer before, it was an HP, and I kept everything on it without a backup. Yeah, it's about to end bad. And the genius that I was decided to keep the computer on carpet. And one day, I decided to sit down like any other day, and there was this flash of light, like an angel came down, and I'm freaking out, and it's gone. Computer's done, and I lost the motherboard and the hard drive. So more of the story, don't keep your computer on carpet. And have a backup. Yeah. So what made me want to build one? I was torn on whether or not to just buy another stock PC, a Mac. So I went and compared prices, and I started listening to the PC Master Race fam here on YouTube. And yeah, they convinced your boy. I drank that Kool-Aid, and yeah, I decided to just go ahead and build one. The prices were better when being compared to, like pre-made gaming PCs and Macs. I can configure things that I need as an artist, and simply because I thought it'd be a dope project to do. So if you're thinking about building a PC and you're on the fence about it, hey man, you should definitely do it. I mean, really, just do it. The good far outweighs the bad. I'm in this situation because there's so many people on YouTube that can teach you how to build one. I really hope this can be a guide for you to building your own PC, but hey, if it's not, there are some links down in the description below on some good content creators that I use to build this PC that you might be interested in. So let's get started on the parts that I'm using. So first I have a DLM22 case. If it's a micro ATX or a ITX motherboard, I can have up to 2 hard drives and 3 SSD drives. I can fit up to 5 fans. The only thing I didn't like about it is that it didn't come with any fans. I mainly wanted this because I really dig the glass panel, and all I did when I first got it was just open and close it. So next is the motherboard, which is a MSI A320M A Pro Max. And this motherboard comes Ryzen 3rd Gen compatible. It can hold 64 gigs of RAM, and it also has a DDR4 boost up to 32 megahertz. I really like this motherboard really for its ability to be upgraded over time. So hopefully I want to try to stick with this motherboard for a while. So now we got the CPU, which is a Ryzen 3 3200G. This is a 2nd gen model. It's a 3.6 gigahertz base processor with a 4.0 gigahertz max boost. This is actually an APU, which is a GPU and CPU. And so it has a Radeon Vega 8 graphics. I got this really because I won't be using a graphics card right now. However, I'm going to use one down the road. So this is really important. If you guys plan on getting this type of APU and later you're going to get a GPU, I do some research on GPUs to avoid, bottlenecking in this regard. So now we're on to the RAM. For this, I chose the HP V8 series DDR4. It has 3000 megahertz. I got 2 slots of 8 gigabytes, so a total of 16. They're RGB. They are compatible with MSI Mystic Lightsync, but my motherboard is not compatible, unfortunately. So I left a link for you, a list of compatible motherboards for this brand if you're interested. Okay, so next we have the storage that I'll be using, and it's going to be a PNY 500 gigabyte SSD. I wanted this mostly for the fast boot ups, and its read and write speed is at 500 megabytes per second. I really don't know how fast that is, but from the comments that I've read, it's supposed to be pretty decent. Now we're on to the power supply, and for this I'm going to be using a Seasonic S12 500 watt. It's an 80 plus bronze class. I really felt that this was a good starter power supply for now. In the future, I really hope to use something like a fully modular power supply when I get a dedicated graphics card, but this will do for now. So for the last part I'll be using is the RGB fans from up here. So if it's not obvious already, I got these because I just like the style. They come with a remote, so you can change the color or the theme. There's quite a few of them, so I'm probably gonna be, just swapping colors throughout the day to figure out which one I like. They use SATA cables, which is okay, but for right now, it does limit the storage capacity that I can use. So later, I am gonna have to upgrade my power supply so I can use more SATA cables. So now that we got those things out the way, I'll go over the tools I'm gonna be using. I'll be using a Phillips head, a Phillips screwdriver, some micro heads and screwdrivers, and a hammer. For frustration, just in case. Okay, let's go ahead and put this thing together. So I'm gonna start with unboxing, and then I'm gonna put together the motherboard, the CPU, and the RAM. So I don't know why this had your boy so nervous, but it turned out to be very easy. So installing the CPU, you just need to line it up with the motherboard. If you notice that it doesn't just fall in, don't force it. Just adjust it until it just simply drops into the motherboard, and then you just pull the lever down. So now I just need to put in the stock cooler. I had to remove the screws that came with the motherboard, then place it on the CPU. There was already heat sink on the CPU, so I didn't need any. I screwed the cooler into place and plugged it into the fan heater, and now that part's set. Now there's the RAM. For the most part, this was very easy since I only had to do 2 slots. I just pressed down on both sides until they were seated in the motherboard, and I heard a click sound. Now we got to get the power supply open. I'm gonna go ahead and unbox that. So installing it to the case was fairly easy to do as well. I just needed to refer to the case manual on where to place the power supply and line it up to screw into place. So next I need to install the iOS shield. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. I didn't know which way this was supposed to go. So the first time I installed it, I did it wrong. So just make sure when you install it, you just install it with the little pokey bits towards the inside of the case. So now let's move on to putting the motherboard together with the case. For this, if you're following along with me, you need to refer to your case manual, as it can be different depending on the type of motherboard you use. For mine, I had to install 6 screws. Also, my case came with the screws to install it, so that was dope. So now it's time to install the solid state drive. For this, I just needed to refer to the manual on where to place it and line it up to screw it in. After that, I just installed the SATA cables from the motherboard to connect it there. So now for the fun part, I just need to place all the connections from the motherboard and the power supply together. For you, this may vary based on your motherboard and case. So it can seem intimidating at first, but really if you just refer to the motherboard manual and your case manual on where to install each cord, it turns out it's pretty easy. So next I'm going to install the RGB fans. I thought this was going to be the easiest to do, but y'all, this turned out to be the most tedious for me. I needed to stick these rubber triangles, which I guess is to keep it from scratching the case. So afterwards I needed to screw them in, which was honestly the worst to do. I don't know what the problem was, but it was either the screws or the holes that I need to fit them in. Either way, none of the screws seemed to kind of go in the right way, and it was really a pain. So after I finished installing the fans, I connected them to the hub and connected the hub to the SATA power supply cable. So after all that, let's go see what this cable management looks like so far.
Are you sure about that?
So, okay, we got all the components together. We put it together. Everything's connected. Let's see if I can get this bad boy to turn on. I'm just kidding. It works. So man, this is wild. It actually turns on. So this is really dope for me. I've never built a PC before, so now, you know, seeing it light up like this is really dope. So, whew, we got that out the way. Let's go ahead and install Windows. So for this, y'all, I'm gonna leave a link on how to activate Windows as well. But on how to install it, I just need to download it to a USB flash drive and plug it in when my computer starts up. So overall, I do think this was a very easy process to do. Outside of installing the fans, it was, you know, it was pretty easy. As an aside, when I do get another power supply, I'll make sure that it's fully modular. But again, it was a super dope project. If you're thinking about taking a shot at this, hey man, do it. I believe anybody can build a PC if you're patient and you can just read instruction. I mean, that's really it. Also, I got a couple updates here. Worked on the cable management. I still think I can do better, but it's good for now. But that's all for this video. Thanks for the real ones that stayed to the end. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell. This is Ron One to Draw, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Be easy.